For my first tech company, actually, I would say that this was my biggest blind spot. This was my biggest mistake, was that I was so overly focused on paid media.
I think like burnout doesn't come from working hard. I've been through so many periods where I've been working so hard, but it's been in complete alignment with like myself and my values and what I want. And so it's not hard work. It's when you're working hard, but it's not aligned with what you actually want.
The shift for me has been leading with my head to leading with my heart.
I think a lot of agency owners are going to find themselves, if they ride that wave the right way, the agency is going to look more like a software company.
We could have like the best marketer in the world. If they're working on a product that doesn't have product market fit, they're not going to get results. And that marketer is then going to start to doubt themselves.
Your website's trying to do two things. You're trying to communicate with humans and algorithms. And they both process information completely different. And your website needs to be doing very good at both of them.
AI Marketing Podcast.
Yeah. So we're all here in Dubai, which is awesome. I don't really get to see you guys too often. You used to live in Medellin, now you're in Dubai.
No, I live here now, bro.
You're here?
Yeah.
You're in Brazil?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we met originally a year ago at Agency Founders.
We did,
right?
yeah.
And originally. And we've kind of kept in touch ever since. And like, you guys are both doing awesome things with your agency. You guys had some huge wins last year. Ciaran, do you want to just like intro yourself and talk about your agency a bit?
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Ciaran. I run Linear Agency with my business partner, Evan. We handle paid ads and performance creative for 7 to 9 figure D2C brands.
Sweet. And any particular industry?
No, primarily D2C. So we work with a big range of brands. We have a lot of brands in supplements, fashion, wellness. On the performance creative side, it's typically going to be brands that are a bit more direct response oriented. So on the wellness side, supplements, things like that. On the paid media side is a huge range, including brands like fashion brands and things like this, where we wouldn't quite do as much like direct response oriented creative. There might be a bit more brand focused, right? But no, big range that we work with. Yeah.
Awesome.
Also a subset of softwares as well that we work with too. SaaS brands, SaaS businesses. Yeah.
Dude, right on. Jay, what about you?
My name's Jay, founder of Lantern Soul. Been doing digital marketing for 12 years. I previously had a fitness brand myself, actually, so I grew that. We grew that to 25 million, eventually exited that. Had all this experience in e-commerce, so I figured why not help other businesses? So started Lantern Soul, really going focused on that for about 6 years now. We predominantly work with Shopify brands doing 7-8 figures. Our specialties are CRO, web design, and SEO. Those are main areas we focus on. This past year, we started expanding a little bit more into local businesses. They're a lot easier, frankly, so that's been pretty awesome. And it's been really rewarding. Our team split out around the world. We are about 40 people now, full time, and just love what we do.
Right on, man. And Ciaran, how big is your team?
We have around mid-30s on our team. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And since last year, how much has that grown?
Man, so you know what? Our team has gone down since last year. So we've really been focusing a lot on efficiency in what we do. And AI has helped a lot with this, especially on the creative side. And our revenue per FTE has gone up. So our revenue per full-time employee has almost doubled in that time, which is incredible.
Huge,
yeah. I mean, it's such an easier business
a different
to manage.
business.
Yeah, it's a completely different business. And it means that we can just pour so much more energy into working with clients and delivering results to clients instead of dealing with the issues of managing so many people. And so that's really our goal now. Is linked to that, we've also massively increased our pricing. So our pricing has gone up, what we're billing clients has gone up. We're billing a lot more performance fees now as well, which is something that for us, we always struggled because we went through a period where we were like, cool, we can service lower ticket brands and higher ticket brands. But the issue with that is we then can't pay our team enough, right? If we have clients that aren't paying that much, we have to get team members that aren't as skilled. And we were like, no, we want to have the absolute best team members that we can have. And so for us, increasing that price means we can hire way better people who are way more skilled, who can deliver way better results to clients. And it's a win all around. And for sure, there's a lot of brands that get priced out from that and that we now reject. We cancel, for example, for context, we get calls booked automatically onto our sales team's calendar. And we're canceling over 50% of calls that get booked in at the minute because they don't meet the requirements that we would even talk to. But that's what we do to be able to deliver the service that we need to deliver, to have the amazing team that we need to have, to be able to pay them properly. You know, it is what it is, but it means we can do what we want to do.
Structuring the agency is such an art form. Like, I didn't really realize until we did it, having those lower clients that are, you know, like $1,000, $2,000 a month clients, or for some agencies even less than that, how much that was hurting our ability to execute for our enterprise clients.
Yeah.
Because our best people, one, you can't clone them. I wish you could. We don't have that technology in 2026.
Yeah.
But
Not yet.
Not here yet. But getting
And
more
if
of
there
those
is,
guys.
Manick will be figuring it out.
It's funny you say that because probably at some point I will get into biology and AI is like probably one of the next things I want to get into.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Just
just
a cyber chip, man. Just inject it straight into my vein. I
Bro.
want the Claude.
I'll be your
networking.
first test subject, man.
I don't know if you
Someone
want to. It
will be.
doesn't go so good for the monkeys.
I will be piling it. I'll be, maybe second, third iteration, but I definitely won't be piling that.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the first. You don't want to be the first. You don't want it. But we've started last year with the agency team. We got this great clarity that we don't really want to have more than 50 clients.
Yeah.
Period. And
Yeah.
we were north of that, north of that. And what we really wanted was to take our best team members and work on the hardest, most at scale, complex campaigns in our space. We don't want to do the simple stuff. We want to do the really hairy stuff that forces us to have to develop new solutions, new technology, because that then goes back with Search Atlas and helps us build better SaaS, right? So that's kind of been our orientation. And so our agency's also changed a lot where I think the bottom, we had a lot of people. We used to have a lot of copywriters. We used to have a lot of more junior SEOs, a lot of like junior account managers that were just more just like gophers relaying like basic client reporting and data.
Yeah.
We don't need any of that anymore.
No.
And so we tried to upskill as many of them as we could for like the next roll up, but a lot of them we just sort of let go and then hired more senior level strategists who are like really deep experts in some discipline that we wanted to go deeper in. And that's been amazing for us.
Yeah. That's a very similar thing to what we've been doing. So that's why essentially our payroll hasn't really changed too much overall. Maybe gone down slightly, but that's because the people we're hiring are just a lot more expensive because they're so much more skilled, because things like AI and systems can actually allow them to just work on more projects, essentially. So you can essentially take this like nucleus of skill and just multiply it with something like AI or better systems.
Totally. Was there like, for you guys, like a big unlock last year on the AI side that really helped the agency step ahead?
For us on our side, scripting is the biggest one. Because like we used to spend so much time manually scripting out ads. So we'd manually be going and researching ads, manually be going and researching like reading through reviews and understanding all of this and then manually scripting, right? It used to take days. But now we've got that down to a few hours and really good quality. So really just training up, really. The difficult thing was getting all of the frameworks to then train up AI on what is a good ad, essentially. Because if you just go into ChatGPT and say, write me a UGC ad now, it's going to be dog shit.
Do you guys use Claude, ChatGPT, or Gemini for that? Curious.
A mixture of GPT and Claude.
Okay.
Claude's been our main one. I'd say for me, the biggest difference was like, I view the first 30, 60 days as like the very big detrimental factor of how successful an account is. Yeah. And I noticed that like an account would either churn after that first 60 days. That would determine everything. Like either they're with us for 5 years or 2 months and they fall away. So I'd say the biggest difference for us was just really nailing that onboarding experience and just adding value every single day. Like right as they get onboarded, okay, everything automated throughout the whole process. It was incredibly manual initially, and we just streamlined all of that whole process. And so just through implementations, through our onboarding forms, through our through our project managers, how they're interacting it, having just basically the SOPs and how we collect information and then unreel that. And just having basically a script for, okay, these are the first 2 weeks of information. We want to be adding value to them every single day. How does that look like? So they're just almost overwhelmed with like, wow, these guys are everywhere. They're thinking about everything. They're laying out the whole roadmap. So it was just incredibly manual before
Feels
that.
more professional too. Like
Yeah,
their
it's just-
impressions like, whoa, these guys really have this dialed into a science.
Everything just, it's all perception. That's what I've come to realize. And if they have high expectations and like, they expect you to succeed, then they stick with you. But if they come in and have like rocky expectations from the beginning, it's more likely to see churn. So I think that first 30 days specifically is like the biggest game changer for us for what we really just streamlined and automated.
So new client, let's say we close them today.
Mm-hmm.
When is their onboarding?
Immediately. So like right when they pay their invoice, everything immediately occurs like right after that. So get the onboarding form, get the kicked off schedule call. We already get that information.
But the kickoff call, when do you guys schedule that? How soon after they pay?
They schedule. They're selecting the time and date, but they get the kickoff form that feeds in directly to our systems. We immediately start applying that information and running out like strategy and expanding that. Here's what that looks like, and then we have just the next 2 weeks scripted out of okay, here's what we're doing on this day, this day, this day. And so, I mean, it is like someone in theory could take 2 days to get back to us for hey, I want to schedule on this date. I'm traveling or whatever. but we have like the whole roadmap laid out, and it sets a night and day difference for that whole experience.
That's awesome. We had like our own SOPs for how we were going to do that, and we ran that at the agency for a while. But some of the issues we had were we weren't onboarding clients fast enough. We would get all their information. We had all that automated, but scheduling the kickoff call and initiating, because the moment they pay, they're expecting that something good will happen. Yeah. And so if you don't deliver on that promise, like you said, perception's everything. And they have a bad impression.
Remorse kicks in.
Yeah, sure. Like, gone with these guys.
It's the most important period. Yeah, if you fuck up in that first like 48 hours, they're like regretting that experience. Especially if you go in higher ticket, right? Like the more higher ticket you are, the more it has to be like super clean.
At least at the higher ticket guys, you can justify having your top people keeping those slots available on the calendar or moving some stuff around to do the onboarding.
Yeah.
Right. So they can make it happen.
For sure.
What we started to do, and this was a big unlock for us, is during the onboarding process, it used to be that the deliverables, we'd start on the deliverables after the kickoff, right? We'd start working on the blog content. We'd start working on if there was some design work that needed to be done or SEO strategy, PPC, whatever. Now we go to the kickoff call with the deliverables in draft form. And so when we go to the call, it's basically our opportunity. Number one, we're going to install the technology on this call. It's the expectation already. We've already invited their tech team, whoever we need, to be on that onboarding call. So we get all of our stuff installed and we can get going. And that's auto and search atlas, all that stuff. And then what we do is we have the deliverables pre-generated, pre-ready to go. And we ask them like, what do you want to tweak? What do you want to change?
Yeah. Right.
So that instead of them giving that
approving
feedback
versus giving you the
30
feedback
days
to them.
later,
Right.
they're already giving that to us up front. And we can just incorporate it. And within the first 30 days, they get exactly what they want.
And so what % of the time would you, because I was just thinking there, I was like, okay, so we do have an onboarding call before that kickoff call. No call before that. And so how would you, what % of the time would you say happens where you get the direction wrong or the strategy wrong? And they're like, no guys, actually, like we don't want this because we wanted to focus on like this, for example. Does that happen often doing that? Because that's my thought with that. If we would, for example, let's say we sign a creative client, we would often need to have that conversation with them because there would be something like, oh guys, I really want you to focus on like, I don't know, this Asian demographic that we don't hit at all, and we want you guys to unlock that for us. And it's like, oh, okay, we didn't know that before. And we could have gone on a completely wrong tangent, focusing on their like highest performing demo, for example.
A big unlock for me was a lot of that conversation would occur in the sales process, and the sales would almost be in an isolation of here's go high level and then click up. So we started taking all that call information, getting AI summaries of it, and putting it directly in the ClickUp onboarding. So because we were seeing that same type of disconnect, so we just merged them together. So to Manick's point, like you could have all that information and avoid those like misdirections of, oh, I focused on the wrong category or wrong product type.
Yeah. We now have our team lead watch all the previous sales calls as well.
We do the same thing.
That's a huge thing. We never used to do that, and there was definitely such a disconnect.
That's awesome. The thing that we found that helped is in the sales process, we try to do the diagnosis. And some agencies, they go either way. I've seen a lot of awesome firms that are more like, we're not going to do any diagnosis until you pay. You're just coming to us because you know we're the best, and we hold that frame, and we're not going to do any discovery for you. If you want us to start discovery, you pay the invoice, and then we begin discovering. And like the thing is, we realize it's not that hard to like look at their data and come back with really good insight. And then the agency guy that's at the table who doesn't do the discovery process, you know, if someone is just showing up and saying, look, these are my accolades, I think you beat them. You
Every time.
100%. Like that's something that we were having a conversation literally like a month ago. And we just started doing that. Not for every brand. For the smaller brands, we wouldn't do it. But for the bigger brands, we were like, okay, we can see these are a serious buyer. These are going to be a big deal. Then we do, because we went through a period where we'd lose a bunch of like really good deals where we're like, man, like these would have been the perfect client. They're good, like we're going to absolutely kill it for them. And they would just say, yeah, like, you know, really trust you guys. But the other agency made us sample creative. They made us a full plan. And we were like,
they feel more confident.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
I probably would have gone for that as well. So for sure. It's something that we've brought as well.
My philosophy has been like opening the Komodo from the very beginning. Every single interaction, I want to just add so much value that it's just like, wow, this guy knows his shit. And so that's the mentality we go in, and exactly what you're just describing. Like we've done that way more just CRO mock-ups or like campaign generations beforehand, and like look at the stuff that we made. Do you want it? And it's more, one of the speakers today was talking about that, of like the freemium model and just selling the implementation. So like, here's all the value. Here's like existing designs. We had some awesome CRO clients we signed up this year because, hey, here's your website. Here's what we came up with. Do you like it? What's your thoughts? And people are like, this is amazing. Yeah. So we closed way more clients that we probably wouldn't have otherwise if we had held that back and reserved it.
Smart. And I think we're kind of early to this because doing all that work, a lot of agencies resist doing that for a lot of reasons. Maybe the sales team, they're not trained well enough to be able to do that.
It's I think it's the inertia of like, it's the activation energy of getting over, it's building a new system. It's like, okay, this system we're running is kind of unoptimal. That's what we were in for a while, where it's like, okay, our close rate's lower than it probably should be, but it would take a lot of effort to go and build out a new system. But then once you've built it out, once you've got that set up, then it's like way more smoother, right? Because it's less time for the sales team, they're more optimal, there's more revenue per hour they're spending on sales calls.
And what we began to see is so many businesses that had the same issues. So like we weren't reinventing the wheel each time. Like we almost had a templatized form of what we could present someone, make, 70% of it would be consistently the same problems. And then we could just streamline it. And we're still giving them all this value. But like, many businesses, we look at hundreds of them. So it's like, you guys all have the same problem. Yeah. So it becomes a lot easier to do that at scale without bogging down like your sales team.
For sure.
And how do you find doing that multi-service? Because you guys you do SEO, you do dev, you do paid
CRO.
ads, and CRO as well, right?
There's a lot of similar parallels. So like dev, CRO, redesign, all that kind of fits into a bucket of like your brand and your website experience, and then SEO more on the growth side. So it does add a lot of challenges, but like frankly, that's why I love it. I think that's our opportunity. Like I think of Jeff Bezos talking about leaning into the complexity of when he built out Amazon. Like books was a very complex subject. It just had all these variables, and he leaned into that because of the complexity. So I kind of like the chaos that comes from that. It makes it challenging. And our team also loves it because they have to learn all these different facets. Like I envy in some sense people who are just like, hey, we only do email or whatever. But
like us, we've just paid ads.
It makes it way simpler for messaging and marketing. But for us, it just, I don't know, I embrace like the full service type of model, and we can give like a comprehensive. And my background of having like an e-commerce company before this, like I've been in their shoes. So I've always been like from that generalist viewpoint and kind of a jack of all trades, and like understanding from a 30,000 foot view of all these pieces, how they fit together versus just like one channel in isolation.
Yeah.
Both you guys, so you specialize in paid creative, you're more of a generalist. There's a lot of agencies out there that actually go double down on specialization, and they're like, we only do, let's say, local SEO for plumbers. Right? Or they'll say, we do plumbers, but we'll do full omni-channel for them. And I've seen those models scale enormously and do very, very well because they're targeting the same ICP with one message and one product. Do you ever feel like for the team, when you're looking at a client, that the team doesn't know exactly, hey, should we present a CRO offering or an SEO offering, or do you let the client come and dictate like, hey, this is what we're interested that we need help in?
We ultimately guide. Obviously we listen to the client. Like some people will come to us with CRO issues, and we're not going to like, oh, actually, you should be focusing on email. Sometimes those conversations do come up, but really, like, what my job is helping them make more money with their business. And we have so many benchmark metrics that we look across the board. So for email, hey, it should be generating 25% of your revenue. For your paid ads to SEO ratio, we see some businesses that are just 100% paid ads, spending literally 7 to 8 figures and zero investment in their organic. I'm like, dude, if you turn that off, that's going to zero. Like, please just take like 10, 20% of that, put it that. So like we have these benchmarks that we can see.
The thing with that is that makes our job so difficult because like paid ads are really difficult in terms of like most brands are going to struggle to be super profitable if they're only running paid ads. So if brands come to us like that, we're like, and they're like, guys,
there's no retargeting audience.
Yeah, but they're like, guys, we need to get like we need to increase our ROAS here and on first order. And I'm like, you're probably not going to increase it from where you are. Like we work with a lot of brands. Like where you're at is good because most brands have a really good backend that you don't have. And so most brands will rely and try and get that. But when they have the really strong backend, then it can work. If their LTV to CAC ratio is great, then cool, they can go. But if they have no LTV, if they don't have the backend like that, it makes our job so much more difficult. Yeah. But Jay, I'm interested. So I didn't know that you had a brand before.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool to hear like what your backstory is, how you actually got into it.
Yeah, so I've always been interested in entrepreneurship. I started off building websites just because my background was I did a double in accounting and philosophy. I had a couple, I loved the philosophy just because it was the only thing that felt like critical thinking. You know, you weren't just studying facts and then regurgitating on an exam. It was like the only thing, like present your ideas and defend them and like criticize this perspective. And I had some accounting internships. I just did that because I figured it was a safe, like secure option. And I just wanted to blow my brains out. It was the most boring stuff possible. So I was like, all right, I got to figure out technology. Figure out like all the famous entrepreneurs were all doing tech. So I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start learning how to build websites. So that's what initially got my foot in the door. And then started building websites just for myself. And then people came to me like, hey, I saw you build this website. Like, I'll pay you money to do that. And that's, you know, you get your first dose of internet money of like, oh my God, people will pay you for this.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
This was, I was 22, so this would have been 2012 roughly. And then a friend came to me and he said, hey, I have this fitness product concept. Do you want to partner with us? We're going to grow it. It's basically a platform that you connect resistance bands to, do workouts with. So we took zero outside funding, you know, just 2 kids just right out of college, just working on this concept.
What year was this? Sorry,
2013, roughly, when we got started on that.
A very nice year to be running Facebook ads.
Yeah. Well, we were pre-Facebook ads. Like this was still like making the product. Like we went through so many product iterations. We didn't really hit escape velocity till probably 2017. That brand grew. We grew it over the course. We grew to 25 million in total sales. I had a fallout with the partner. And so that's when I started Lantern Soul. It's like, okay, I have all this experience, and I was always focused on the marketing and sales side of it. I was just in that seat of where you're, you know, wearing multiple hats, doing all these things, content, website, SEO, email, ads. Like you're just looking at the whole picture. And so I had this kind of well-rounded experience of what's it like being a business owner. And I was like, okay, I can just partner with other businesses. And so now I'm one of Shopify's like premiered recommended partners. So part of our challenge is that like, we don't even do outbound sales. We just get sent deals all day from Shopify.
Nice.
And I love it, but we get everything from like dog shoes to industrial packaging to like everything in between. And so I love that because we just see so many different business models, and you see kind of like what are those common denominators across all of them, and that's where we see like those benchmarks across the board. So I think we're really good at just like sizing up a brand and saying like, okay, you're strong here, you're weak here, maybe apply a little bit more leverage here, and like just looking at it across the spectrum. Our focus has been mostly on like I think of it as like the website experience, which is like branding, CRO, overall like dev stack, and then the growth side, which is predominantly we lean into SEO, but we also do stuff with like email, Amazon, and some of those channels.
Yeah, that's cool.
Ciaran, did you have like a brand that you built before the agency?
No, man.
You just went right into it?
Yeah, so I mean, I did what I think every entrepreneur does first, which is sell like sweets and chocolate in school.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. That was my money making thing. Then got a job.
You were a chocolatier. I didn't realize that about you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I remember I used to buy 4 packs of chocolate for £1 and sell each individual bar for 50p. So I had a 50% gross margin on my chocolate that I had, and I was rolling in it. But yeah, so the actual very first business I actually got into was SEO, believe it or not. So I can't remember who I bought a course from, but I was like 20 in university, and I was like, I want to make some money. I want to get into online business. And I bought a course on the rank and rent model, which if you don't know what rank and rent is, it's basically you set up a funnel for a local business. So a local business niche. So I started 2. One was for locksmiths and one was for plumbers. And the idea is it'd be something that would be like an emergency service. So something that someone would go on and Google, and they'd Google like emergency plumber Altrincham, which is the city that I was, or the town that I grew up in. So you would build this funnel, and then you would rank it with SEO essentially, and then you would have some kind of call tracking software that tracks the leads that come in, tracks the phone conversations, and then you would then sell those leads one by one, or you would just rent the whole website out to a local business, which is why it's called rank and rent. So that was the very first business that I had. Didn't really go anywhere. I got a few leads through, like I was kind of just messing around. But then I found out about paid ads, and I was super excited by paid ads because SEO was cool, but it felt like slow to me. And I'd always be like, where I thrived when I was younger was I used to do a sales role. When I was 16, I was doing telesales whilst I was at school, became like the top performing rep there part-time and was earning like the same or even more than some full-time reps. And I loved that it was like commission based, and you could you could track the numbers of the sales side. And then that's what, when I landed on ads, I was like, man, it feels the same. It's like I can go and spend 10 grand here, generate 50 grand back, and I can see the numbers, and it's super exciting. So from there, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to get into ads. So got a course on like how I can be a freelancer, how I can find clients on ads. Got my first few clients that weren't in ecom. My first few clients were outside of ecom. And then I was like, nah, I want to get into ecom. Ecom's where all the big numbers are. That's where I can do some really cool stuff with ads. And I just loved ads. And so that's why I went, cool, let's get into ecom. And then the rest is history, really.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like I know exactly what you mean about the paid media side being this almost like a drug.
Yeah.
Because you can literally today start running ads and get transactions.
Bro,
put revenue on the board.
Bro, it's incredible, man. Like you can and like you can literally, and like we could do that now with information. So like what I think is crazy, how like you can just make money basically out of thin air. Like I can just get on the camera, I can talk about something, I can then go and put that on Facebook and put money behind it, and boom, I can sell something that just makes even more money. All just from sitting in it's like you can just make money from thin air with ads. And it's like a drug. Like you see it, you track it, and it's like a mentor of mine said it's like it's like calculated gambling. Which it essentially is, because it's like, okay, there's a risk here, it might not work. I'm going to bet a bunch of money here, and I'm betting that it's going to pay off. And it's funny, I was actually watching a video on this. Someone was making the point that you never see an entrepreneur it's very rare to see an entrepreneur who is addicted to the game of chess, for example, right? Even though chess is very strategic and it's very, very skill-based, and you think, oh, it sounds like entrepreneurship, but a lot of entrepreneurs are really attracted to things like poker, right? Where it's similar to chess, how it's very strategic, but there's a huge like gambling element involved where you're not quite sure what the payoff's going to be. Is it going to work? Is it going to not? And I think entrepreneurship is very similar to that, where you kind of have these shots that you take. You don't really know if it's going to work or not, but the payoff could be huge. And I think paid ads is very much like that too.
Calculated risk, but still like some variables you can't control.
Exactly, yeah. And I think it's cool. And I think I just kind of landed on that with ads and fell in love with it. And then, yeah, the rest is history.
Tricky thing with the ads is initially you may not get the type of performance you want, but you have to optimize your way into it.
Yes.
And so you may not get good ROI month one, maybe even month two, but you're building toward the kind of figuring out the thesis around what's the message that resonates with what audience.
Yes.
So for my first tech company, actually, I would say that this was my biggest blind spot. This was my biggest mistake, was that I was so overly focused on paid media. First tech company was a live entertainment ticketing platform. We were competing with the likes of StubHub and Ticketmaster. Not so much Eventbrite because they do more like your own events, but more like the big secondary ticket marketplaces. Sure. And those guys, like our VC funding round of like 5-6 million that's like lunch money to them.
Yeah.
You know? And the ROI on the ads, I learned this the hard way, that there are some markets where the competitors are so eager to get the top line revenue that they don't care what the bottom is. They will actually spend north, the CPC or CPMs will be north of their actual margin. So they have like their CAC is way too high over the LTV. And they're okay with that. And they just do that because they want to buy the market share.
Yeah.
So if you're in that type of pond, you can't play that game. You can't compete.
Yeah.
So I played that game for too long, and we spent too much money on it. And we were always like right at the cusp of that profitability, negative ROI margin.
Yeah.
And if I could go back and do it differently, I would have shifted that investment into another channel. Specifically SEO, because SEO it ended up being the thing that sustained the business for a long time until I sold it. But just interesting, getting into it because of that dopamine hit, because the revenue that we're able to ramp up to, so quickly. Unfortunately, not a lot of bottom line, impact there. So for the D2C brands that you work with, what's their ramp up look like? I'm curious. Are some of them able to hit that Olympic bullseye month one?
It can happen, but it's not very common.
Okay.
But the important thing is we have it all the time. Brands will come to us where they're being strung along by an agency, and the agency's kind of saying, hey, it's going to work. And they go whatever, 4, 5, 6, even 6 months with this agency and nothing happens. And I think it's it is fully possible that we could go 4 months without really seeing what we want to see. But the important thing is that I would always say to clients, we might not be paying for the revenue at that point, but we're paying for the learnings. And if you have an agency that you're working with for 2, 3, 4 months and you haven't quite got to where you want to get yet, you need to look if you are actually, what insights do you have from that? Because it's a full funnel, right? We can just track it all the way back through the metrics and say, okay, like where is the break here? What is not working? If our ROAS isn't where it needs to be, it's got to be CPM, it's got to be our CTR, it's got to be our conversion rate, or it's got to be our average order value, right? Where's the issue here? What do we need to work on? And then what tests are we putting in place to get there? And if we put a test in place and it hasn't worked, then okay, great, we've learned something. So what's the next thing we need to test to learn the next thing? And then you learn enough things, you solve enough problems, you're going to get to where you want to go.
It's a good framework for transparency. So is that, I'm kind of curious as well, like on your side, Jay, with this, because there's always campaigns that don't initially take the way you want them to. How do you communicate that disappointment to the client in a way where there's like integrity, but there's also this like understanding that, hey, we haven't cracked it yet, but we're getting there, and this is what we have to show for it, in a way where they don't just drop you.
Right. In my world, specifically speaking on behalf of SEO, I'd say like it starts with setting the expectations before you partner with them. So in the sales, we ask for, hey, we need a 90-day commitment. That's what we basically look at. We want a 3-month sprint, and I mean, I'm typically trying to get a 3 to 10x return on capital investment. So whatever they're putting into us, I'm trying to get a 3 to 10x return on that. And I mean, we have plenty of instances where we're doing exactly that. Like one of our peptide brands, we grew from 50K a month organic to 113K organic within those first 3 months. So like we can hit that. It's not always the case, but if it's not the case, then I need to be able to show the leading indicators. And so those would be like, hey, what are our total number of keywords in the top 3 results? What is our total number of backlinks, total number of keywords indexing? What is our domain rank by these various platforms that we do to triangulate between them? How are we seeing the activity in Search Console shaping up? And so like people always kind of think of SEO as this like mystery box of like, hey, I don't know what's really occurring in the back end, but like we can really break it down and show them, here's the list of keywords that are very specific. We've all agreed on these have high purchase intent. And frankly, if we're not able to show measurable progress in the first 3 months, like it's probably not going to work out. And so we're just frankly, like I tell them, like you should fire me if we're not seeing that after 3 months. Like fire me. Like it's like these are the metrics. These are what we're looking at. If we don't hit those revenue goals of like 3 to 10x return on capital, then these would be the leading indicators to show us that we're at least moving in that direction to be able to attain that.
It's powerful though, because there you, by saying if we don't get to this in 3 months, then you should terminate the engagement, creates a lot of like safety and
transparency and trust.
The
they every single time they laugh because they never hear someone say like, hey, you should fire me.
Totally.
So it's like it's kind of like an Uno reverse card of like like dude, fire my ass if we're not doing
you
that.
take that objection out of the equation because you're telling them the conditions under which
I'm sure you hear this in SEO. They've been burned so many times, and what I hear constantly is like, we don't know what they're doing in SEO. Like it's a mystery to them. And with paid ads, it's you see those direct results. It's a little bit more immediate. But I just find out like it's you can still get just as granular with the data if you present like, hey, here are the keywords. We've agreed on that. We can see these search volumes. We can see your current rankings. We can see your competitors are doing these. And so like we can get very granular and specific as far as setting expectations.
When the campaigns don't go the way you want them to or land as fast as you want them to, what's the number one culprit? Is it the client's CMS just having a lot of legacy? Is it them not giving you letting you take reins of the site and make the changes you want, maybe for branding purposes? What do you find it usually is?
There's a whole mix of things, so it can really vary. At the end of the day, being in a rising tide, like peptides, for example, some of our best clients are in that space, and that whole industry is just exploding. So if you're on the cusp of like a big wave, it's way easier, obviously. Some of the brands, and we stopped working with brands that are less qualified if they're doing like under 100K a month, for example. Some people would just not have product market fit. And I would tell the team like, hey, we're definitely going to do better than whatever they're going to do on their own. So like, but like at the end of the day, it still wouldn't make sense as far as the ROI and what I try to do with the 3 to 10x return on capital, where just like they wouldn't be able to achieve it. Sometimes it would be clients just being too hyper specific on just trying to control all these variables that didn't matter and just like majoring in minors versus like, okay, these things are like kind of acting more as distractions. We then have also clients who come in and just try to dictate our playbook and strategy, and that's usually just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, they should just hire a freelancer for like a fraction of the cost and just tell them what to do.
Yeah,
like there's no point hiring a premium agency and then telling them what to do. That's
for sure. We make that super clear up front. Like, look, this is the playbook that we're going to run, and there is like some discovery where we'll let them shape aspects of it. Maybe more so around like, hey, we want to focus on this type of content because that's our best selling products. That makes a ton of sense. But as you know, having done a lot of SEO campaigns, I can at this point just look at a website within about 60 seconds after looking at the SERPs and looking at the data and tell them know exactly what is that one factor holding the site back. Yeah. If they won't let me play with that factor, then usually what we do is we're like, look, if you won't let us, and usually you know what it is? It has something to do with the website, the CMS, the content structure of the website. If they won't let us touch the CMS and go in there and make the fixes, they better let us install auto at least for us to be able to deploy those fixes, because a lot of times they're very like persnickety about you getting into the CMS and getting back there because they don't want anything to break. Yeah. But you're like, dude, do you know that your team is the one that's breaking the site?
Right.
And we wouldn't have this conversation right now if your team knew what they were doing.
This is exactly why I really love and think it's a powerful combination to include CRO with SEO. Because I just had this conversation the other day. Your website's trying to do two things. You're trying to communicate with humans and algorithms. And they both process information completely different. And your website needs to be doing very good at both of them. Yeah. And so when we can bring those worlds together, we see less resistance on like the website side, because we're actively making that, enhancing their brand perception and appealing to humans, while at the same time is making sure like the structural content is able to be read by algorithms.
Yeah, well, it's a very good point, because like this would happen all the time with brands of ours. Is like I would see some of their like SEO pages and I'll be like, my God, I do not want any of my traffic going anywhere near that page, because they are not converting on that page. I was like, keep that the hell away from my traffic.
But they're helping you with their targeting pixel.
Yeah, for sure they are. But it's totally different, because I would be coming at it from a CRO point of view with paid ads, because we consult a lot on CRO. So we do a lot of like, we would call it growth consulting, which we would describe it as everything outside of the ad account that would still stop us from being able to scale. So a lot of that would be CRO, but a lot of it would also be stuff like fractional CMO style stuff. So how do we set the right CAC goal? Because I don't know if you find this, but one of the biggest problems is brands would come to us with like wild goals. And we're like, look, you're not going to get a 3x on new customer ROAS here. You don't need it. We have brands that are 10x your size and a lot more profitable that are trying to get a 1.5 on new customer, because they just don't understand like the LTV or the margins or whatever. So,
or maybe the LTV is just not there yet for them. And the deeper question is, why does your product not have repeat buy?
Yeah, which a lot of the time it's typically going to be product market fit, kind of like what you were saying before. And if
do you tell them that?
Well, yeah, for sure.
It's like, hard to tell someone their baby is ugly.
Hey, your
but
product
look,
sucks.
like, you know, it's like typically where we tell them that now is in the sales process. So like we used to sign brands like that. If you asked me this like a year and a half ago, we would have had like multiple times it would happen where we bring on brands and like they wouldn't quite be a fit or whatever. But the problem with that, you were touching on this, where if it's not working, it's typically because of something like product market fit. And an agency owner might look at that and go, oh, but it doesn't matter because the revenue's there, whatever. But there's such a massive hidden cost that agency owners don't look at there, and it's the team. The team morale is like so bad when a client leaves or when they can't deliver results for a client. And we could have like the best marketer in the world. If they're working on a product that doesn't have product market fit, they're not going to get results. And that marketer is then going to start to doubt themselves. And they're going to take that doubt to other clients, and when they're going to have an idea that's a bit bold, they're not going to try and push it because they're not as confident anymore. And so, yeah, it's like when we stop taking on brands like that and we're a lot more selective, man, like the team's so much happier. Like it's such a huge difference.
And who qualifies that? Do you do that, or does your team have like the knack for figuring out, look, you can't push a string. This business is it's just not meeting the threshold to which they're going to see, because at this point, like you've seen so many clients come through the door, like this brand on Facebook, it just ain't happening.
For sure. Like, so it's like you guys will probably understand this. It almost trains you up to be like a VC, where I've spoken to thousands of brands at this point over the years, where I've taken calls with them, I've asked them about their business, I'm qualifying them, are you the right fit? Like what's your margins? What's this? And it's pretty cool, because now it's at a point where I can like chat to a brand and I'm like, that's not going to work. This is going to work. That's a really fucking good brand, because you just have you have like the pattern recognition of seeing so many brands. And so, yeah, now the team would handle most of the disqualifications. So the first thing we do is like we look at their intake, whatever they filled on the form, we'll cancel a bunch from there. Then our closer, our sales rep will take the call. He'll be DQing a lot on there. And then it would be my business partner. He would review any brands that come in with him there. So he would look and be like, okay, do we want to take this? Do we not? And then disqualify from there. And man, it just makes the biggest difference. Because the other thing as well is like, for the first few months, there's often times where if we actually look at the hours that we're putting into a client, sometimes a break even or even at a loss in the first few months, because a lot of what we do is based on performance as well. So we'd have like a minimum fee, but we're really looking to scale clients and then get that performance side. And so, yeah, it's an amazing model. And that means, for us, it's like, we have no interest in signing a client that isn't going to scale, because for another agency, they would have it set up where maybe they have 10 clients per team member and they go, great, I can just survive on this base and I'll just stack these base retainers all day and just have as many clients as possible. But for us, that just makes no sense, because sometimes that base doesn't even cover the hours that we're doing if we're putting a bunch of effort in to try and scale these guys. And so it's like it changes the frame with brands, where it's no longer like, I want to sign you. It's like, I don't actually know if you're a fit for us, because we need really good fucking brands on our roster that have the ability to scale, that have a really good operator in place who we really trust, and have a really solid business that can grow and scale. So it's much more of a partnership where it needs to be a fit for both, right?
I think it's like you always you're looking for your next number one case study.
Yeah.
Like that big case study where you can say, we took them from here to there, and it eclipses all the work you've done previously.
Yeah.
And when you find that client and you know that the fit is there, if your team has been just saturated with a bunch of like lower value work and lower value accounts, you can't bring your best to that engagement. Yeah. And so, yeah, we try to be really selective as well now, and that's why we're just trying to keep that roster shorter, so that we're like, look, we're way north of 50. We're at like 92. And so when we bring on a new enterprise account that's like paying us $50K a month or $100K a month or $150K a month, we look at that roster like, all right, now we don't need these 10 brands anymore. And we'll go to them and say, guys, like, look, if you want to work with us, you got to double or triple your retainer in order for us to really make progress here. If you want to make slow progress, then fine. But we're not interested in like a 10%, a 20% return or a gain. We're looking for a seismic event. And we can only do that if we basically like just cull the bottom 10, 20% of clients. So we're always doing that. And it's been great. So like we've been able to focus on higher value work with more strategic partners. And then the benefit of the team as well. I don't know if you guys see this, but I've noticed that our team, when an account manager and a strategist, when they're dedicated to only one account and they have that ability to focus, and their head's not on a swivel and they're just constantly looking at all the different engagements that they have to manage, they do so much better work.
Oh, so much better, yeah.
And they like it a lot better too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's incredible. Makes such a difference.
And how do you guys, do you bonus your AMs if they do a really good job, a client comes in?
Yes, for sure. So we've played around with different bonus structures. Right now, we do just have it set on, it's very much subjective, really, based on the managers, because we've played around with basing on like profit that they handle or scaling clients and things like this. But for now, this works. We're going to be exploring some more as we go in. But yeah, we're pretty heavy with bonuses. Like credit where credit's due. If someone's performing well, like got to pay them well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, like it's the lifeblood of the business. And we've had some really, really good people leave. Like I've learned that lesson where I've had people where I've said, oh, they haven't asked us for a raise, so we don't need to give a raise. And when we've asked them if they're happy, they said yes, but then they leave. So like we've had that experience, so now we're like, nah, like typically it's rare that team will ask for a raise, because we're usually very proactive with being like, look, man, you're doing an amazing job. Here's a bonus, here's a raise, whatever. I don't think you have to value your people. If they're doing a good job, like you have to value them.
For us, I mean, we've almost maybe taken it to an extreme of just gamification of like, so many different paths for just increasing your salary. So we have two main things. One I got, shout out Aaron Platt, Triple Crown system.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about that,
this.
dude. I love
you implemented
it.
that? Yeah.
I love it. That was one of the biggest unlocks we did last year, and it's really great. So
yeah, because that sounded really cool when he told me about it.
We implemented, man, it was a game changer. And it's like one of the biggest things we emphasize, and we treated it like a scoreboard. And so we can look at like, hey, what's your Triple Crown rate? Like how many of these are you hitting? And people can hit double crowns or single crowns. Basically how it works is 3 main metrics. So if it's a retainer, like making sure we get X number of months retained, get a testimony or review, and then lastly an upsell. And so if they get all 3 of those, then it becomes like a multiplier, and so they get a bigger payout. And then typically for, at least with our SEO or ads team, they get paid based on retention rates. So if we hit 6 months or 12 months, they get a bonus structure paid out for each of those. So their main metric is protecting against churn. So became a really big difference. Like our head of SEO, he tripled his salary last year from just these payouts. Like, you know, his like I was sending him big checks, like way more than either of us were expecting, and like he just started seeing the numbers. And what I see is they just start operating like business owners.
Yeah.
And we're going to start implementing we're going to be doing this across the whole team. Like exactly what you're saying of like the partnership mentality. Like I want my whole team to be thinking the same way.
Yeah.
And so exactly what Eddie kind of was walking through yesterday of, okay, you have the pod structure and you're looking for like minimum of this, call like 60% margin or whatever that margin is. And then everything on top of that, like you're getting a slice of that.
Yeah.
And so they have now like multiple paths for increasing like salary and comp. We also do other things. We call it proof of workout. So like I encourage, seriously, yeah, I mean, fitness is a big focus of mine. And my philosophy is like, I personally cannot perform my best unless I'm working out, taking care of my health.
Yeah.
And so the team gets bonused on workout, prove it, take a photo, show your bio tracker of whatever. If they get 12 of those every month, they get a bonus payout.
Nice.
So we have so many different like bonus routes, and it makes it tough for like the financing part, but I just love it. It's like the gamification aspect of like everyone's
That's
like,
very cool.
I love the gamification too. One of the things we found, and it became so painful, was just scorekeeping and
it's
managing that.
Yeah, like managing it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a beautiful concept, but I think now with what we can now do with AI.
well, so that's what I was about to say. It's way
agents and stuff,
easier.
It's much easier.
Our team vibe coded an app to do proof of workout to make it very easy. So you just capture and just auto reports it. Nice. So previously I was just like, dude, fucking manual, like Excel sheet, like counting up images. Like, but I was like, this is really important to me. So I'm going to do this. And now we just have like we vibe coded an app to just do that for us. So it's like, I can do that minimal effort. Nice. Team's like, what the fuck? You're paying me to work out? I'm like, yeah, I am.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Also creates like great community, and the team, they feel like that what happens in their world, in their life outside of the job,
dude, culture is king,
is still part of what they bring back to the office. There's a connection there.
Literally just before this trip, we dropped 20 grand to fly the whole team out to the Philippines. I know you talked about that too, like flying the team together. Like, dude, we've been investing heavy in that because we're all remote. We're all in different countries. And like,
how did you pick Philippines?
We have a strong, we're spread out all over, but we have a group of people in the Philippines, in Colombia, Brazil, Mexico. So we've kind of figured out like where are main hubs and where people are active.
Places you wanted to vacation.
And also places that sound like cool vacation destinations.
Yeah.
So we're going to have 3 this year, actually. We're going to have one. We had one in the Philippines just before this. We're going to have one in Cincinnati, my hometown. We're going to have another one in Medellin. So maybe we'll link up
nice,
there.
man.
100%.
The Medellin one will be cool.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Gotta get you out there too.
Yeah, bro.
When was the last time you were back?
Bro, so last year I spent 6 months there. No, longer, I think. I spent 1.5 years in total in Medellin. Lived there for a long time, yeah.
We gotta get you back.
Yeah, bro, I'm going to have to come back, yeah. I still haven't made it around to your house, though. You've invited me a few times, but...
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere, man, yeah.
Chateau Bon, dude. It's
Yeah.
It's a
world
vibe.
class. It's
yeah.
a vibe.
Yeah.
There was some pretty killer parties there with some DJs, and I was DJing too, and it's cool. Now it's a sanctuary, so we got a bunch of animals there. Now we're up to like 25.
Bro, your
What
animal
animals?
farm.
What animals do you have?
3 donkeys.
No way.
3 sheep.
Bro,
we
that's
got
cool.
a bunny rabbit, a
Yeah.
white bunny rabbit, a horse, and two cows and a baby cow.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's
Do the cows milk?
no.
Okay.
No.
Do you have any chickens?
We got 2 chickens.
You get some eggs from that. Do you have hens?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we get
yeah.
some eggs.
That's cool.
And it's kind of amazing. Like daughter gets to grow up in that type of environment, like being around the animals. And then it's also, most people don't get to have that kind of experience. So especially when I fly the team out and we have an event there, the fact that they get to go and get carrots and go feed the animals in the morning and be in this Colombian beautiful, like ethereal nature environment is just such a mind warping experience for them that, they've never had a chance to do that before.
Right.
So
Yeah, the nature there is amazing, isn't it?
yeah,
It's a great place.
kind of tough to leave, honestly, for me now.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. You just uprooted
And
yourself
come here to the desert with no nature.
for sure.
Yeah.
Has it been good for business?
Yeah, it's been great, man. I think, bro, like Dubai is... So I think Dubai is somewhere, for example, when I came here in September, I was hating it because I was working US hours. So I was working till like 3 a.m. And I was just working nonstop. So I didn't really build a community when I was here. And I think Dubai is somewhere that does feel unnatural. Like it feels a bit like the Truman Show. You're walking around and like nothing's really real. It's like, am I on a movie set here or am I in a city? Like what's going on? But the thing that makes Dubai so cool is the people, because like 5% of the population, maybe 10% max, are from here. The rest are all expats. So everyone wants to chat. Everyone wants to make friends. It's the place where I found it the easiest place to make friends and build a community. And the moment I built that community here, it's like amazing. Feels completely like home. Doesn't feel like the Truman Show anymore. So I think it's a place where if you don't build that community, you are going to feel very homesick or not like comfortable. But it's so easy to build that if you just put in the time and effort.
I couldn't believe 95% of people here are expats. Like that blew my mind.
Yeah. Well, have you seen the photos of like 50 years ago? And it's literally like the Burj isn't there. It's just like there's like a photo of where the Burj is. It's just like a desert with like a road and a few buildings.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. 30 years.
It's crazy what they've done in like 50 years or whatever.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Crazy. That great quote from it's the Sheikh, who's like the ruler of the country for 32 years, from 1958 to 1990. He said, my grandfather, he rode a camel.
Yeah.
My father rode a camel. I ride a Benz. My son rides a Land Rover, but his son will ride a camel unless we turn the city into something different than what it's been, which was a fishing and pearling town.
Yeah.
And that they did.
Yeah. And the reliance on oil, which like Abu Dhabi had a lot more oil, but like I think it's a visionary, isn't it? Like they could see where it was going and they were like, let's change it. Yeah. They built some pretty cool stuff.
So have you had a chance to, so I know as the agency has been shifting for you, finding more work-life balance has been like a big key goal for you and Evan.
Yeah, for sure. Because look, I think like the things that motivated us, because this is what we spent a lot of time talking about, is like why are we building this business? What do we want from it? And I think the things that motivated us in the first few years is what I think motivates a lot of people, which is like freedom, status, proving to myself and the world that I could achieve these things. Went through thankfully, it was a very short period. Went through a very brief period where I was buying crazy clothes and like getting crazy cars and stuff, right?
Nice chocolate.
And what?
Some nice chocolate too, hopefully.
Oh, lots of nice chocolate, bro.
I bet he's got a sweet tooth.
Loads of nice chocolate. But yeah, and I think like, that fuel like ran out, right? Like I'd kind of like achieved those goals. And then for quite a while, we were kind of like just pushing and growing, but then we kind of, I think burnout, happens when there's high effort, but low alignment. So by alignment, I mean, the reason that you're doing it doesn't align with who you are and what you actually want. I think like burnout doesn't come from working hard, because I've been through so many periods where I've been working so hard, but it's been in complete alignment with like myself and my values and what I want. And so it's not hard work. It's when you're working hard, but it's not aligned with what you actually want. And so, yeah, we went through a period where we were like, okay, like what do we want? Like, why are we building this?
Yeah,
and
I like that. Like, you didn't say reward. I thought you were going to say reward, but you said it's actually alignment, because
it's alignment.
It's not just about the economic side.
Yeah,
it's also about the other aspects.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, look, like, we're all doing well. Like, thankfully, super grateful, but I'm at a point where like more money won't make any change on my life. Like, I've been through the brief period where I've bought the expensive stuff, and I was like, okay, that doesn't do anything for me. So like I could 10x my personal income now, and I'm not going to change anything in terms of what I buy. I'm still going to, this is like a $20 tee. I wear the same tee every day. I've got like 7 of these black t-shirts. Like it's not going to make a difference. So it's not money. And then I was like, okay, status. Well, I've kind of like, all those things where I wanted to like prove to the world that I could do it and be different, I've kind of checked that box. Like that doesn't really do anything for me anymore. So then it's kind of like, okay, like what do I want to do? I want to build something really cool. I want to build something cool with cool people. I think like the 2 big things that motivate you after the whole ego thing is going to be craft. So mastering something, which is like the enjoyment of just getting amazing at something. Like you said, you were telling me yesterday, you just love going so deep on marketing, and you love speaking to these. You were describing it as like an ocean, right? Where you can go so deep in individual areas, but you can't go so deep and then map the entire ocean floor. And so you said you love speaking to other master technicians in their area. And so I think it sounds to me that it's very clear that for you, the craft is a very clear motivator. But then for a lot of other people, it's impact, right? And I think it can be a blend and a mix of the two, but impact is another huge one. Like Tony Robbins would be the key example of impact, where he wants to feed billions of people across the world, and that's why he's now so hungry at like 65 or whatever, right? And so I think for me, that's kind of what I'm going down. It's kind of like, okay, cool. Like I want to build something really cool. Like I'm good at business. This is something I'm good at, and I want to get as good as I can at this. It's the infinite game. And then the impact side as well is something that never used to interest me at all. It used to be very ego driven. Whereas now I'm really starting to think more about, wow, okay, like what can I do with this money? I've got this really great skill set where I can generate a lot of money and have a team that I can pay for this team and I can do all this really cool stuff. But like, what contribution can I make with that? And that's kind of now what I'm getting into and kind of toying with is like, oh, what could I do? How could I help people? So it's still a work in progress in terms of what is that, but definitely those two things are really where I want to be focusing and moving forward with. And that's the framework that I'm looking at in terms of any goals now with the business.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to have, like for me, just the craft part is not fulfilling because just becoming really good at like woodworking or whatever it might be, no offense to anyone who likes woodworking, but just the example that came to mind, the impact side of it is the part that I feel like I need the most, where like the work that I'm doing and the mastering the expertise allows the impact to happen.
Yeah.
Without that mastery, you can't see the results. And digital marketing is a really cool vocation because through the techniques, the technologies, through the craft and the work that we do, you can have an incredible impact on the business, but the people who work at that business. Like we ran a challenge and like 1,000 people on there. There's this one guy who is like, he jumped in, he's like asking questions during Q&A and he was teary-eyed. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And everyone in the room was just like fixated on him when he started to share a story of like his family had a restaurant in Tucson, Arizona. And it was like a family business, like 7 of them. And they were struggling to keep it afloat. And they were all working really, really hard on the business, but there was just not enough money coming in that it could sustain everyone in the family. And so they were having conversations about shutting the restaurant down and just discovering the platform, the technology and what it does. With Search Atlas, he turned the restaurant around and now he's like, they're thriving. And so he was just like brought to tears to just share that story and the impact that digital marketing and the expertise that he's able to bring to his business has like transformed his family's life and changed the trajectory.
Yeah, and that must be beautiful for you because I think like for us as the owners, you can get very removed from that, right? You know, you're often really looking at, okay, I'm looking at all the metrics here. How do I grow the business? You do start to get removed, but it must be very powerful for you to see that firsthand and go, oh wow, yeah, like these clients. You know, you said you have 96 clients, like you know. You're probably looking at numbers on a screen a lot of the time, and then to really be able to see, oh wow, I'm having like a real direct impact on someone's life here. Like that's amazing, you know.
With software, it's like it's hard to feel the direct impact the same way that you do with an agency because
how many software clients do you have?
We're going on almost 6,000 now.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's numbers on a screen. You know
total
what I mean?
numbers. It's just a statistic, and we can't connect to the human experience.
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
And so we're working on that. I think there are ways to do that. Some people have figured out, but with software, you think about like a company like Asana or like a ClickUp or you know any software application. There are stories there in the user base that you just have to find. And how do you find them? How do you create them? Well, that's where the community comes in. Building that community. I'm curious, are you guys doing anything like that with your agency clients yet? Your actual customers? Do you guys bring them and do like customer conferences or meetups or
not enough
anything in person?
Not enough. Not enough at all. We try where we can, but
it's hard.
Pretty much all of our clients are US.
Okay.
So anytime I'm in the US, I would, but being over in Dubai, it's not super common. I would love to do more though.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort and energy, and then obviously they're your clients. You don't want to bring them together in a room and drop the ball, right? Like you just kind of can't do that. But there is like a way to do it digitally, where
for sure,
we've started to like map that out and create those digital experiences that are like really powerful, and also remind them like why are they working with us, and also can we have them share their experiences in a positive way that brings everyone to the table and like remember this isn't just a vendor transaction, there's also this other thing happening here that's more than that, and that there's a lot of selfish economic reasons you'd want to do it, but it also just feels good.
And that's it, man. And I think like there's a huge thing to be said for focusing on what feels good. I think like that's something as well that I used to do a lot of, was just focus on like very, very, very analytically, like what's the number one thing that's going to grow the business right now. But like you really, like you as the founder in most businesses, until the business gets pretty large, it's typically you are the thing that's going to grow the business the most. And so if you are doing things that you don't really like or that don't really fire you up, then you're probably not really going to grow the business very well. And so I think putting yourself in a position where you do the stuff that you're most excited about, and then architecting those experiences, like you said, like if for you a huge part of your work enjoyment and motivation comes from seeing the impact you make, then how can I see the impact that I make for as many people as possible? Because you're making an impact for hundreds, thousands of businesses with 6,000 clients there.
And for the team.
Yeah.
Again, for the team as well to
too.
know.
Like, seeing that, getting that front and center. I think that's
The shift for me has been leading with my head to leading with my heart.
Yeah,
And like the
yeah.
more I can lead from here it's incredible, the difference. And it is way more impact focused. Like I'm more curious about, like, I want to know how I change your life.
Yeah.
Like the guy I told you about beforehand, where like we grew his business, we doubled his business last year.
43x. Those
43x return on the SEO. So
Yeah.
he was like 1.5 million. We grew him over 4 million. Like, dude, just talking to him, like he was ecstatic.
Yeah.
He's like, I've been doing with my dad for so long. Very similar. Like, dude, that just hits me in the feels. Like, it's just that is so much rewarding than like any paycheck of like, big retainer you just sign or anything like that. So I constantly try to remind myself, like, turn down, because I can be up here a lot and not enough down here on like the feel part. And so this year I'm trying to just lead a lot more with the heart versus the head.
Yeah.
I love that you said that. That exploration for me has helped me get away from thinking about with the agency, let's go and do outbound campaigns or whatever to get new clients. To really more understand that every business owner that you work with works with other highly accomplished, even sometimes more successful business owners. If you have, did that guy refer any other business your way?
Oh yeah, of course.
Right?
And he came from a referral. He came from one of my best friends, like making a referral. So it was like, I felt really great because, my friend trusted me for this relationship, and we over delivered on it.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome. Like, just, feel good. And I still pay my friend out an awesome commission on that as well. He gets paid every
Sweet.
single time. So it's like, it's just feel good all around. Like, everyone's happy, everyone's winning. It's just like, this is what it's all about.
What if that's how agencies grew? If that was the number one growth model, it's like, guys, you can run ads and do outbound. What if it's just like, why don't you just figure out how to get referrals out of your best customers and make more people
We're
into
emphasizing
your
that
best
way
customers?
more this year. And we basically do it lifetime commission. Any person who refers as a client, you get lifetime commission.
Yeah.
It takes 5 minutes of your time. And so right now we just introduce it more into the conversations. It's like, look, it's just a quick introduction on your end and you get paid out indefinitely. So our biggest partner last year, they got paid out, I think, 15 grand and just from introductions. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Like, the best clients come there because they're there's so many clients that are not going to be a fit for what you do. But the clients that you have that are amazing fit, they're going to know other clients that are like that. And they're always the best. And they come warm, they know you, they're interested. It's a very easy conversation. The best clients.
Yeah, especially the enterprise brands, because they go golfing with their buddy who's the CEO or CMO at whatever other organization. And
It's so rare you'll sign an enterprise client from outreach.
For sure.
It's all connections with those ones.
Because they get outbounded by everybody.
Yeah.
And for them, it's just, they white it out. It's more about...
And they have the network to just ask.
To ask around.
It's like us now. I'm not responding to outreach because I know you guys and a bunch of other friends who have probably worked through the exact problem that I might have. And I'll say, hey guys, looking for a solution to this. Who do you recommend? Boom, 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 boom. Probably am friends with someone who can solve the problem for me. I'll just pay them. And it is the best, most trusted place. I think you would rely on not leveraging network when you don't have the network.
We shut off all ads, all outbound for our agency. We took it that seriously.
Yeah.
We shut it all off because we told the team, guys, this is it.
Yeah. You better get us some referrals, guys.
Better tell all your friends.
Get your referrals or we're going to be struggling.
We're fortunate. We always have a lot of referrals coming in, tons, maybe even more than we can even fully handle and process.
Commission on all of those referrals?
Honestly, most of them no, because they come from people who are like, hey, I wanted to do a favor for my friend and I'm trying to help him with this.
Yeah.
Just take care of them. It's more like that.
Yeah.
We do have some people who are serial referrers, and that's what they do. They're like, hey, I know a bunch of people that need help with agencies. I'm going to bring all these guys to you, but mostly it's not.
But that's great because I know a lot of agencies that are stuck in just relying on outbound or paid ads, and they spend a shitload. They're spending 20, 30% of
Because
their
they're churning
revenue.
and burning clients
Yeah, exactly.
all the time.
Yeah. So like if you can generate it through that, it's super profitable as well.
We have months where there's like just no churn. Like I wish every month were like that. Practically, it can't be that way. Obviously, clients churn for a lot of reasons. Sometimes it's their business or, they exit. Like that happens.
That's a big one. That's a big one. The exit, the new acquirer already has like maybe they're doing a roll up or they have agencies in their own structure. They buy brands. That's what they do. That's a very common one.
Yeah. Speaking of exit, like what are you guys thinking about the future for your business? What are you guys eventually going to sell?
Dude, no. Long term, I want to play long-term games with long-term people. I remember one of the first
Naval
jobs I
Ravikant,
had.
love that.
Someone says like, I want to be thinking about things I want to do for the next 50 years. And so that's always been my mentality. And that's why it's been really important for me to have good work-life balance. I kind of hate that expression because, I want to be extreme at everything I do. But like I have zero intentions for selling. I want to be doing this for as long as I'm breathing, honestly.
That's cool. Yeah, I wouldn't see myself selling either. I think like there's two types of agencies, right? So you have the volume agency, which is kind of like the McDonald's, where you would have as many clients as possible and lower retainers, and everything's like SOP'd and systemized.
Millions and millions served.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but your team is probably not that skilled because you can't pay them that much because you have low paying clients and you have to just like SOP everything out. And then you have the like higher ticket boutique agency, whatever you want to call it, where it's like a SWAT team and they're like fucking killers and they're paid incredibly well and you have really good clients. And that model to me is so much more exciting because yes, you have a cash flowing asset, which is the agency, but you also have this fucking monster team that you can leverage for other cool shit. So like, I really like that model where I have this fucking incredible team where this is a cash flowing asset with my clients, but I can go and use this team to build brands or do some other cool shit or invest in a business and take equity
Create
to leverage
something
my
new.
team. Like, yeah, it's cool, man. It looks seriously cool. So that's what I would see. I know I wouldn't see a need to exit. I've been through a period in the agency where I've been completely removed as the founder. And I think if I ever wanted to exit, I would just automate it, remove myself, have an operator, and it would just run. Like when I've been in that position before, it's been very, very smooth. I'm not there now because I don't want to be there now. But I think it's very smooth and it seems very simple to do.
I'm surprised I guess I'm not surprised because I like you guys so much. And probably part of the reason is like your ethos and, the way that you view the world and you do business. But we're kind of a rarity. You know that, right? Like I'm the same way. I've no interest in selling. But if we like rotated us out randomly, most agency owners are looking for their exit, that they want that payday.
Right. Do you think it's they want a payday or do you think it's that they're sick of the model and just want out?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Because it's a
treadmill versus like a passion.
Yes.
Yeah, which I can see why, because like how I've been through stages of the agency where I've run it and I've been like, man, this is not fun, which is usually where clients are not happy, which is usually because you don't have a good team, which means you either don't know how to hire or you're not charging clients enough, which means you can't hire the right people.
Onboarded the wrong clients.
Yeah, basically. So it's usually you're not delivering results to clients, which is such a stressful experience. I've been through that in the past. Or you're just like so stuck in the day-to-day because you don't know how to promote people or have leadership, basically. But I think if you can solve those two things, then it's a beautiful business to run, I think, because you're in a very, very leveraged position as the owner. And yeah, like, and man, like I've heard horror stories about exits in agencies. It sounds horrible, especially if you were emotionally checked out of the business and you were like, I want an exit. And then to say, I'm going to go through an exit with like a 2-year earnout where I've got these really difficult targets to hit. I've got these investors or these new owners breathing down my back where I only get like the next 70% of the payout if I hit these targets. But that sounds like hell. If you were emotionally checked out and wanted to leave, that sounds terrible.
And the multiples can be like 2x.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like not even high. So when you look at it that way, if you have, like if you think of your agency that it has longevity and certainty to it, that's more like a software company, then you would just not take the exit and you would just cash flow.
Well, that's exactly it. Because that's what we looked at. So me and my business partner were talking about this a lot. Like, do we want to exit the agency? And we looked at it and said, okay, if we are stuck in it day to day, then the multiple is going to be super low and we're going to be locked in for at least a 2-year earnout. So we're like, that looks fucking terrible. So we're not going to do that. We would have to remove ourselves from the business, have it fully operating without us, and then we'll sell. But then we looked at it and we were like, why would we sell if we were in that position? Like if it was cash flowing heavily and there was an operator on board where it could grow probably pretty easily, like 20, 30% a year on year with them doing all of it, like why would you even want to sell that? So that's when we landed on that and being like, well, no, we'll just run it. If we then want to remove ourselves, we'll remove ourselves, but not sell, really.
But then also you get these crazy phase shifts like we're in right now with agentic AI.
Yeah, man.
Where
I find that the
like,
most exciting shit. I want to be on that forecast. Like, you know, I want to go through these.
Bro.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I enjoy that. I love the evolution that comes from like, hey, we're not the same business we were last year.
Okay, so this is a cool topic then. So how would you see your business changing for you specifically? Because I know sounds like your core, like does SEO drive the most revenue for you in terms of service?
That's our biggest, and then followed by like CRO web design.
Okay, and so how would you see, like, so if you're excited by AI and everything, how would you see that changing in your business?
I think it's, you know, as long as we're on the forefront and know how to use and manipulate that technology better than other people, people are always going to be looking for expertise in implementation. So it's just allowing us to do better at scale. Like kind of what we were talking about earlier in doing the sales audits for people. I can now present amazing designs and do like very complex and in detailed audits way faster. And so I think like there's a lot of fear around AI, but I think it's just going to enable those who understand how to use it to be 10x ability. And 100%. So I just want to be on the forefront of that. A big part of my ethos is always embracing and using new technology. We have 3 core values, and one of them is evolve. Like we're always testing the new technology. We're always experimenting with the latest and greatest. And it's just a big part of what we've established as our core ethos. I want to be on the forefront of that. I want to ride that wave.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's very cool.
And also the margin side of it too. I think for the agency model, we're stepping into, like, we've got an agency that's running search outlets. He's got over 100 clients. And he sent me a voice note yesterday to tell me that he hired his first person at the company, but he kind of didn't need to, but he was just like, okay, I kind of want to get some work-life balance. And I know I need to start building a team around me. And I was like, Eric, you got to hire people now. You don't need to do this all on your own. But he's like, but I can, and I should, and I will. It's like, all right, when you're ready. And so I was really happy to hear that. But the story there being that we're going to see more and more firms exist like that. That there's going to be really, really small, highly, highly specialized, really high caliber marketing brains that have gone so deep and really understand like one market segment that are going to be able to scale their creativity, their execution up literally infinitely with infinite leverage with AI and agents. And we're like 2026, it's happening right now. This is the year. So I think a lot of agency owners are going to find themselves, if they ride that wave the right way, the agency is going to look more like a software company.
100%. 100%. And what I find super exciting about it as well is software traditionally has been typically a really good solution to a very, very, very narrow problem, which is why agencies exist, because agencies are they can solve a much more broad problem, because you can do a lot more things with a person and you can really kind of close the gap between what a software can't solve. But I think that we're going to be able to essentially see this like hybrid between an agency and a software, where it's like basically operating like a software with like software stickiness, software margins, except solving a broad problem rather than a very narrow problem. So I think it's exciting, man.
What are you guys looking at as far as implementation of AI and agents into your business? What are you excited about this year?
By far, the thing we're most excited about is AI production of creative. Like scripting is there, that's great, and it saves us some time, but like the production of creatives, we do a lot of UGC, a lot of shoots. Like that operationally is just a headache. We need a lot of people, a lot of different roles. It takes time. Creators aren't the most reliable sometimes. Yeah, expensive too. And it just takes time. Like it takes weeks to go through that process. Whereas like creative production, boom, like that, super quick. And it opens up the doors as well. Like we can create anything we want. And I think like now I'm super excited because like it's so close. Like it's just like, bro, you were showing me your video, right? You showed me your video and you said, oh, that was generated with my AI avatar. And I was like, was it? Like I didn't even like, for sure. I looked briefly. I looked closely.
But you didn't notice it.
Yeah, but but that's what I mean. Whereas before I would have always noticed. So like it's at that point now where you're starting to get tricked. If you're maybe a little bit tired or you're not quite concentrating, you won't notice, right? Whereas, bro, give that 3 more months and like it's going to be there. So yeah, that's what I'm super excited about it, man. I think that's going to be game changing.
Well, I can't wait to ride this wave with you guys and hear about what we're all going to be doing with this technology over the next 3 months.
For sure, man.
Because it's going to be insane. Also, guys, glad we did this. This is a lot of fun.
100%, bro, yeah.
And
It actually hit me today. I was reflecting back to your speech in Nashville last year and just thinking about how much has changed since then.
Yeah,
with
man.
AI, of like, because I remember asking you a question then about like search behavior shifting to AI, and I was just thinking like, oh my God, how much has changed in 1 year?
Yeah.
It's just mind blowing.
It
It's
is.
absolutely mind blowing.
can you just imagine next year?
Like exactly,
Yeah,
I was like, just
yeah.
like, what is this
We're
point
going to
next
repeat
year?
this podcast in a year.
In 1 year, it's just
Talk
going to be
about all the crazy
insane.
shit that's changed.
Seriously.
For sure. Guys, awesome. We got a jet, so
Yeah.
we'll bail on this. Guys, peace out.
Peace.
Thank you.
Later.